This is a review of the LIONEL Universal Remote Controller being used for American FlyerChief engines. Part number is 6-83071. The LIONChief Universal Remote Controller can be used for both LIONEL and American Flyer, LIONChief and FlyerChief locomotives. Let's take a closer look at the controls on the Universal Remote Controller. Controls that are familiar to LIONChief and FlyerChief operators are the on and off button, the throttle for forward and reverse operation, the red light indicating that the power is on with the controller, the bell button, the horn button, and the crew talk button. What's different now is the red symbols on the buttons. The red rear coupler can be activated by pressing the shift and the rear coupler button to release the rolling stock from the engine. The front coupler symbol on FlyerChief engines is not functional right now because there is no front coupler on the locomotives. The shift button can also be used in the volume control of the sounds on the engine for the FlyerChief. Once the shift button is pushed, and the throttle control now becomes a volume control from 0 up to maximum. Once the shift button is released and the throttle is returned to the center position, or the red light pointing at the red light, it now will again control the engine's motion forward or reverse. The buttons underneath the three silver control buttons, 1, 2, and 3, are for which LIONChief, LIONChief Plus, or FlyerChief engine you are currently controlling. Once programmed, each button would be able to select the engine of choice for operation on the layout. Okay, now we're going to use the universal remote control to program and control one of our engines. I have the Milwaukee Road Northern, one of the latest FlyerChief engines that LIONEL put out, as the engine of choice. So let's start with the controller and clear out any previous ones. As you saw, the number 1 switch was pressed and it blinked rapidly, which means it cleared out any information from the controller from a previous engine. So now we'll apply power to the tracks, so power up the engine and see if we can go ahead and program the remote control to control that engine. As you can hear, the engine is now chirping at us, saying power is applied, but there is no control. So we'll go ahead and tap and release the engine button number 1. Engine button number 1 now lights up, and the engine itself just changed from the chirp to the engine noises. So we'll go ahead and see if we can control this engine. There we have the engine in view. As you see, the universal remote is on 1 and it's ready to go. So let's try a couple buttons. We'll try the bell. Sure enough, it controls the bell. How about the whistle? Whistle's fine. How about crew talk?
You're cleared outbound, over. Copy that, dispatcher. I'm green.
Okay, so now the buttons are in fact working. Let's try our throttle. Okay, let's go reverse. Sure enough, we've now programmed the universal control button number 1 for the LIONEL FlyerChief Northern Milwaukee Road. And now we'll program a second FlyerChief engine with the universal remote controller. Let's clear that button. There was the flash, the fast flash, so we'll turn on power for the Pierre Marquette that I'll be using for the second engine. The Pierre Marquette, of course, is a Berkshire and a different engine. So let's go ahead and press the button and see if it programs. Alright, the engine noise has changed from the beep to engine noises, so let's take a look at the engine. There's the Berkshire, and let's see if we can control it. The universal remote is on button 2, which we just programmed. So let's try the controls. There's the bell. Let's do the whistle. Whistle works. How about crew talk?
Dispatcher, you're clear to pull. Over. Roger that. Cleared outbound. Out.
Okay, and last but not least, we're going to go ahead and try the direction. Now we'll try reverse. So the universal control unit, in fact, has allowed us to add a second engine to the FlyerChief control. Now let's try to program the universal remote controller for the earliest FlyerChief engine that Lionel produced, which was the Polar Express. Holding down the button, as you saw it flashed fast, and then it's waiting now for power to be applied to the Polar Express. Let me go ahead and do that. As you can hear it beeping right now, it's looking for its engine, so we'll clear this one. And there it is. Number 3 is now on, and the Polar Express sound is now working, so we'll see if we can control the engine. There's the engine. Universal remote is on 3. So let's blow the bell. Sure enough. And how about the horn? That's fine. Little crew talk.
One thing about
And there's Mr. Tom Hanks on the Polar Express, and let's see if we can move the engine now. Forward direction. Let's see if we can back her up. And the controller now controls the Polar Express. Thanks for watching the Universal Remote Control Lionel American Flyer review, and hope you get one and have fun with it.